thank you all so much for coming tonight. My name is Lindley Walker-Cherovia. I'm the Palmer Trinity Alumni Association President. And I'm going to start with the Palmer Trinity School prayer, and then we'll do some introductions. O God, our Heavenly Father, the source of all wisdom, we ask your blessing on Palmer Trinity School. Let there be light in the place, light to the mind, light to the heart, and light to the will, that we may grow in knowledge, love, and service of you and each other, now and forever. Amen. So, as you probably all know, the Alumni Association is 1 year old. We're just entering our second year. And class agents have been a part of this, sort of unofficial alumni association for a long time. We've had class agents for many years, but we've never really had a grasp on what they did or how to use them. We just sort of labeled people class agents and moved on. So I personally think that class agents are like the bread and butter of the Alumni Association, because you and I am one. We are the branches of the Alumni Association that are reaching out and connecting to all the students. So I just want you to know, in my opinion, this is the most important part of the Alumni Association. So thank you all so much for saying yes and showing up. We have a lot of work to do, but we'll try to have fun doing it. So let's go around the room and introduce ourselves so we can all get to know each other. As I said, Lindley, class of '96. Grew up in Miami, swore I'd never come back, and here I am. Moved back here in 2004, and I have 2 little boys that are at St. Thomas right now. I'm a realtor with EWM, and I've really enjoyed getting back involved in Palmer Trinity. It's been awesome. Which way should we go? Tom?
Okay, I'm Tom Magenheimer, class of '78. Been around a long time. My family's been involved with the school almost since its inception, so it's I'm really proud to be able to serve the school and enjoy it every time I walk through the gates or drive through the gates here. It feels like coming home. I'm a commercial real estate appraiser. I have my own firm, and I've lived here pretty much my whole life except 2 years.
My name is Craig Zemet. I'm apparently the senior member of the alumni here.
Less than a year, that's not too bad.
Proud to say, I'm a native Miamian. I'm a real estate attorney. I am a sole practitioner. I practiced for many years with my late father. Just enjoyed speaking with Beth, and I've known Tom since I guess I was 16 and he was 15. My daughter just graduated at the University of Florida, which happens to be where I met my wife, and it is always great coming home to Palmer Trinity. And of course, that's when Tom and I went to, it was just those older buildings, the older double-wing building, as you call it, Shaker Hall, and 5 miraculously molded wooden pods that went by way of Hurricane Andrew. I have very fond memories, and I'm very happy to be involved in this school.
My name is Will Morrison. I graduated in 2007 and went to college in California and came straight back very quickly. Now live here in Miami in the Grove, and I work at a commercial real estate company called Cressa. We are real estate advisors, and happy to be here, and I'm trying to get my '07 class more involved, but it's difficult, but I'm going to do my best.
Nick Sanchu, get the vote, please. Went to school at RPI, worked on Wall Street for 11 years, and then moved back to Fold up there. And work in finance technology over at Assurant and run a couple companies on the side. And really amazed about the growth of the school and the quality that you guys have put into it. So very glad to be here.
What class are you in?
1992. I'm not.
Okay. Alright, hi guys. I think I'm probably one of the younger ones here. I don't have the resume that you guys have, but I can say that I'm a current University of Miami student. I'm graduating next spring, which is crazy to think because I graduated in 2012 from Palmer. I'm a biomedical engineer, well, gonna be a biomedical engineer. Looking for jobs. This is my current job, my status right now, job hunting, because I have to have a job secured by next spring. But on the side, I DJ, have my own business. I DJ for a lot of schools, and I'm actually working with Palmer this year. It's on. And that's what I love to do. I love music, and with this, I'd like to be able to help Palmer and also be able to get to know everyone here in the Alumni Association better. So that's fun.
I'm Keenan. I'm clearly the youngest one here. Just graduated actually 3 months ago. But yeah, I also attend UM my first year. I'm studying computer science, and I'm really forward to hoping that my class is really involved, and I guess social media is a big help. But I'm happy to be here and excited to see what happens.
My name is Lisa. I'm Miss Meg's daughter. Graduated in 2004. Actually married my high school sweetheart. I don't think any will find us in Canada. His name's Alex, but everyone still calls him Canada. We have a 1-year-old. She just turned 1 today. And I took my first steps in that gym. And I have Palmer in my blood. And I recently moved back down south, so I'm now closer, and I want to be more involved. And my class is really bad. They're really awful. They all live here, and they don't come to anything, and I'm going to harass them.
You're not alone.
That's how I feel. So, you know.
I'm John Malloy, class of 1985. I'm also a member of the Alumni Board. I'm an attorney here in Miami. I practice patents, trademarks, copyrights. I also have had 3 children at the school. 1 graduated, and I'm now also a junior and a freshman. So I financially support the school for my tuition. Although only 2/3 of what it once was. And I have been very excited to get involved with the Alumni Association because I am terribly jealous of the folks at Belen and Columbus who have that close-knit community where people refer business to one another and introduce their younger sisters to some handsome guy that is going to, complete the family portraits and all that sort of stuff. So I would really like to see, this come together with a lot of energy. And as I was telling my kids on the way to drop them off this morning, that one of the reasons I'm interested in this is because they're all going to be alumni soon enough, and we really need to have that kind of fabric for Palmer folks, because this is a place we can all be proud of, and it's only going to get better.
And you find a husband for your daughter.
Just scared him.
Marriage is legal at 16.
My name is Beth Lazar. I graduated from Palmer in 1984, and my claim to fame is that I am finally a Palmer parent. My daughter started here a month ago and comes home every day and tells me that it's like being at summer camp. So you can imagine that I am over the moon with our decision. Like John, who graduated a year after I did, along with my brother, who graduated in '85. I graduated from Palmer. I had a class of 43 people. An extremely diverse group of people, some of whom are still my best friends 30 plus years later. I always wanted to be involved in Palmer after I graduated, but many things got in the way. I am a tax lawyer. I specialize in estate and trust. And I feel that in my area, now is the time that I can really help Palmer out and with endowments and a lot of things that they need. And more than anything, I am so proud to walk through or drive through the gates now that my daughter always has to say, "Stop showing up. This is my school now. Stop talking to my teachers. Stop emailing everybody. We know that you went here." I was begging she get my number 92 locker. Unfortunately, she got the one across the way, but I still walk by and rub it, and she turns red. And finally, one last thing is Coach Mig was my favorite teacher ever at this school. She made me try out for the girls volleyball team in 12th grade. I was not an athlete, but all my friends were cheerleaders, and I wasn't going to cheer, and I wanted to travel with the athletes. So she let me have a shot, and she kept me on all season. And to this day, I love her. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. I see your daughter all the time. And I'm super excited to get involved with this organization. I hope we can do a lot with it. So thank you for including me.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Amanda Thompson. I graduated in '96 with Lindy. We have a big job ahead of us with our class as well, because they're not the most responsive. But I was a cheerleader, and I'm hoping that I can get them to just show up to a few things. But I have two daughters. Haley, my oldest, is 5. Well, she'll be 5 in October, and she's at St. Thomas also. And I also have Catherine, who's 22 months, who thinks she's 5, and will also probably be at St. Thomas at some point. But I'm really excited to be a class agent this year. I hope that, you know, like I said, we can get my class moving and get them to show up. That's all I want. I'm just like, please, we have a reunion coming up. We have a reunion coming up, and I'm like, come on, let's just get some people there. So, thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better, and I'm looking forward to a great year.
Charles Bomberger, I graduated in 1994. Went to high school with some folks here, and even some of their siblings. Actually lived with Lindy's brother in Atlanta for a little while. I've forgotten most of that time. I have 2 young children that are at school and in class with some of these folks as well. I work for a local insurance company. I'm the brand director there. And yeah, it's great. It's always wonderful to sort of walk back here in such a special place. And it's changed so much since a lot of us have been here for the good, a lot better. You know, and it was a wonderful place when I was here, when we were here. And I think it has so much potential. So it's such a great thing that, like you said, that we're sort of injecting more life into the class agent, into the alumni board. It's just got a lot of potential. So it's great to be here and meet new people and see old friends.
Charles is on the board too.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one of you then.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Oh, please.
Sure. My name is Brett French. I graduated in 1997. Born and raised in Miami. Have 2 little girls, married, work in commercial real estate as well, and actually work for an alumni. He's my boss, so that's kind of interesting, but very excited talking about how the world works. Have great positive memories about the school, and like to see some other people remember those moments and try to get them involved. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of similarities with probably going back, 15, 20 years. There's a lot of folks that aren't too interested in caring about Palmer for whatever reason. I think that can change, but they haven't been engaged properly. So hopefully we can come up with some ideas. And I think there's a lot of people that do want to get engaged. They just don't know how to, and maybe the things that they've seen haven't really piqued their interest. But we've got a beautiful campus. We've got huge acreage that's getting ready to develop. There's a lot of potential here. And I think that the more we can get people that have been here in the past excited about the future, then the more benefit that will come from that. So I'd like to do my part as much as I can. I think I graduated with 62 or 63 kids. So I've seen at least 4 or 5 of them pretty regularly. So I know that they're out there. So hopefully we can find some others. But happy to be here.
There we go. Okay. I introduced myself to many of you tonight. Juan Gomez, I'm the new Director of Development. Keenan, I got you beat, buddy. I'm 3 months here. I'm the youngest one by far. Okay, although it's been a very short period of time, I can tell you the feelings that I've established very quickly here at the school. You can tell it's a very special place. Prior to being here at Palmer Trinity, I was at Columbus for 23 years. Some of you have mentioned Columbus at Oberlin, several times, and I can tell you that when I started as a development director there about 8 years ago, we were in a similar place where the alumni base was just kind of fractured. There was no one unifying force at the school, and we were able to put together a lot of programs, and in a very short period of time, the alumni came back. And just sitting in this room and listening to your stories, I could tell the passion and the love that you have for Palmer Trinity. And if there's another 100 out there like you, I think it's going to be very simple to do what we want to do. And that's build a very strong alumni base. We may not have quantity, I've said this before, but we definitely will have quality. And we want to put the programs in so that, yes, the students that are graduating now, they can go out into the business world and either be mentored by other alumni, work as interns for them, whatever the case may be. So that same connection and bonds that other schools through their alumni associations have, we can clearly and most definitely have it here as well. So I'm very excited to be here, and I hope to get to know all of you much better.
I'm Lauren Dallin. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations on behalf of the school. I have 2 future Falcons at home. So one day they'll hopefully be one of you all. But I'm very pleased that the work that we've accomplished in 1 year, and I'm very excited about the work ahead. It's really rewarding to work in alumni relations. As you all know, there's so much opportunity and so many great people and so many stories to tell and stories that have yet to come. So I'm really looking forward to that. Awesome. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Alumni Association. Okay, Scoot. We're going to share this presentation. We're also going to be hopefully quick because John and Beth Brockway Cerati, who's not here tonight, she's also on our alumni board, and she is going to share a little, or she and John are working with our class agents. You probably have seen some emails and gotten some phone calls from them, but John's going to share a little bit more about what we ask of our class agents. What I'm trying to get is here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so this is our new website, and if you haven't been there, please just go one day to palmertrinity.org. It's beautiful. It shows a lot about the school, but in the top right-hand corner is alumni. And so these are pages that I hope that you'll refer to every so often. Here's a list of our board members currently. We wrote with the Board of Trustees of Palmer Trinity School approved the bylaws of the Alumni Association Board. So the Alumni Association lives at basically the blessing of the Board of Trustees and has a staff liaison through me and through Juan to the school. Our board members have a 3-year term, officers have a 2-year term, there's a nominating committee, so there's a pretty formal way to get involved, and the reason we do that is so that we have a standard moving forward, and those bylaws are written very much based on many other organizations, our parent association, for example, and other alumni associations, or other alumni associations. So anyway, you'll probably see some familiar names on there, and we have lots of committees that we should probably list here, but class agents are obviously one of them. Okay, why an alumni association, as we've kind of talked about? I think that these pictures help to describe it, and you all, with your own memories and your own involvement, help to describe why an alumni association. You guys are the past, okay? The past. You are the key to telling the stories about the past. You're also part of the future, because we have to support the present at the school in order to
see our school move on in the future. We have something to be very proud of here at Palmer Trinity, as John said, and this is your diploma, okay? So your diploma is only as strong as our alumni association and our alumni network and community are. I know those are big, broad ideas, but when you think about the fact that you're part of the past, the present, and the future, you're very critical to our school. So that's why we have an alumni association. It's the lifeblood of our school, and it's really important to the future, and it's fun. So Patrick Roberts, our new head of school, who, if you haven't met, I hope you have the opportunity to meet one day. He's teaching a 6th grade class this year, World Cultures, and it's part of the 6th grade Discovery Wheel, and the 6th graders take 6 weeks, right? To take a couple of different classes in 5 weeks. So he did, so he's teaching a 5-week block, and he's going to get to know all the 6th graders. He's starting off with giving the 6th graders a little bit of Palmer Trinity history, and then telling them that they need to go out into the school and find the answers to the history. So he prepared a quiz, and I'm not going to share the whole quiz with you, but I'm going to see how much you know.
All right.
Okay. Yes, very good. All right, these are one of the questions. What year was the big freeze?
1977.
Well, it was the year that it almost snowed. Right?
No, not almost.
It didn't collect.
Flurry. It was January 27, 1977.
Because
I lived it. We were here.
Trick question.
Trick question. Wow, his quiz is wrong. Did it freeze in 2010?
All the fish died, remember?
No. Okay.
Wait, we got fish
So
on
that
here?
one.
Is there a koi pond? We got a koi pond?
Now you get to one of
Okay, what year did Palmer start?
71.
Palmer or Palmer Trinity?
Palmer, just Palmer. 73.
Okay, so very technically 73. The fall of 72 was Gulliver Gators. As you may know, this was the Gulliver Academy, or Gulliver Prep was here. And then about winter time, the school became Palmer School. And so the graduates graduated in 73 as Palmer Pirates. Is that right?
Rose Palmer.
Rose Palmer.
Right.
Preceded my time.
Well, but this is what the 6th graders have to know. What year did Trinity start?
83.
Yeah.
83. That was a good year.
And then what year did they merge? 91.
92.
Fall of 91. So, so both Palmer School was only about 20 years old, and Trinity was less than 10 years old. So it was very relatively both young schools. And in 2012, 2013, we celebrated our entire rich history of our school, and so we are now over 40 years old. So there you go. And another final question?
Was the big freeze in 77? Did we get
Yeah.
that right?
It was 77.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying
Okay.
by the test paper, that's all.
You were
I was
not
on board.
either.
I was on board.
You're just going to have to take my word.
It is documented in the yearbook.
I was about to say.
Yeah. One more thing about this room, and then I'm going to let Juan talk about the state of the school a little bit, is this room, so the library was built, what did we say, 1990, Charles? The Matheson family helped to raise the money for this building, and it's known as the Matheson Library, but it was renovated in December of last year because there used to be big bookshelves in here, I think maybe some of you remember, and this is now known as the boardroom. And it's also a place for us to share our history very kind of openly. We have a Palmer flag over here, and we have a Trinity banner over here that I hope you look behind the tech board and see. And that's all of our pictures of our heads of schools. We have every single yearbook that we can find. And then, so I hope you enjoy kind of being in this room, because this is, people that don't know about our history learn it by looking through it. There we go. Okay, Juan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
At our pictures.
We're going to talk about the different upcoming events.
Yes.
We can do that. I'll hand that back to you then.
Sure.
That's one.
That'd be perfect.
Like coffee and all.
Yeah, exactly. If you would give a brief thing about the state of the school.
Okay,
then-
yes. So,
Here's a picture of freshman in front.
about a week ago, one of the events I got to go to was a hearing at the village And leading up to that hearing, all I heard was horror stories that, Palmer Trinity had been in a vicious battle with the village for over 10 years, and the neighborhood, and it just made it sound like, Armageddon between the school and the surrounding. So I showed up to this hearing, and I'm ready for a big fight. I'm expecting the neighbors coming out screaming. I'm expecting, the commissioners to get up and scream. Lo and behold, 5-0, they vote in favor of everything that we've been trying to do for the last 10 years. Yeah.
New commissioners.
New commissioners.
They had to pay attorney's fees because they wouldn't do what the
Well,
court said. Kind of learned their lesson.
They did. They
I read
did.
some of the decisions, they got their rear ends handed.
Yes, they did. And we actually had a neighbor stand up, and I said, "Okay, here we go. This is it. It started. It started." And the guy gets up and he says, "I moved into the neighborhood several years ago. I love what the school is doing. I'm in support of it. I have 2 young kids. I hope one day they can go to Palmer Trinity. Hopefully I can afford it." And that was it. And it was just like.
And you offered him a scholarship.
We did.
We should have done that 5 years ago.
Neighbors discount.
So just like that, we were given the green light, and that is an amazing. Our head of school, Patrick Roberts, always says it's a historic time in Palmer Trinity, and it really is. And I feel almost guilty that I'm walking right into this without having suffered like so many people have over the last 30, 40 years, actually, because we were just talking about over dinner what this school has had to endure, and yet it has survived it all, from Mother Nature to a merger, and that says a lot. It's almost like destiny that the school should be here, right? And I get goosebumps thinking about that plot of land, 33 acres of untouched land, that we could build something that looks like that. I mean, if we build 50% of that, this campus is going to be by far the nicest campus in Dade County, bar none. Okay, and in fact, the total campus is 55 acres. Other than St. Andrews up in Boca, which is 82 acres, we are the largest contiguous campus in south of Boca Raton. So
They're a border, right?
What's that?
They're a boarding school, too, right?
Yes, they're a boarding school as well, absolutely. So think about that. That's your legacy, that's your history. I'm thrilled and excited that I get to leave my handprint on this part of Palmer Trinity's history. So I can't wait to get started. One thing that I want to make very, very clear, and I think I've expressed this to some of you, I think the most important thing from you as alumni is just getting involved. And coming from a director of development, you would think it'd be more like, we need your funds, we need your support. Okay? I look at it like Las Vegas, the casinos. Okay? They don't cheat because they don't have to cheat. The odds are in their favor, right? If you play long enough, they're going to win. All right? The way I look at my job here at Palmer Trinity is you guys love the school so much, and you have so much passion for the school, that eventually you're going to want to give, because you're going to say, I got to do this. I have to be a part of this. So I don't have to twist arms, I don't think, because this is something that you're going to do. So what I want to do, though, more than anything, like I said, is make sure that you feel that this is your home, that you're welcome at all times, that we have events for you to attend, that you can walk, or drive around the city with your PTS on your back of your car, right? And people will honk and say, "Go Palmer Trinity," that kind of stuff, because you deserve it, and I want to do everything in my power to make sure that happens. So anything that I can do for you, please feel free to call me. Drop by anytime into my office, sit down, we can talk, we can chat, and please bring your classmates. You know, one of the things that I had to do once again when I was at Columbus was get the alumni involved. And one thing I noticed is once they walk back on campus, that passion, that love, it just rekindles. And you know, I hope for the same thing to happen here at the school. So we are in the silent phase right now of our capital campaign. What does that mean? That means that we have not openly announced anything. Campaign doesn't even have a name yet. We are working on that, you know, kind of behind the scenes, under the radar. Once we have reached a certain amount of support, then that's when we're going to kind of, you know, make a big announcement. So, you know, stay tuned. But until then, you know, please have fun and enjoy being part of this. Thank you.
So please refer to one of your attachments for the event dates. And I won't go into too much detail here, but I hope you will start to take note of the many offerings that we have for not just you, but your fellow classmates and fellow alumni to get involved in their alumni association. As Juan mentioned, we are hoping that alumni will feel comfortable and free to come to campus. We're going to be hosting monthly coffees here at school. Very casual, come by on your way to work. See the school in action, see some old teachers perhaps, go home with a goodie bag. No ask of anything, just come for fun. And so I hope that you all will help to spread that word, that those are great opportunities to come. And it's easier to come south in the morning, right? So come south in the morning, stay for an hour, and then go to work and be a couple minutes late. So look for those dates. We are also very excited to launch our Alumni Association networking opportunities. We're going to have 2 speaker series events a year. Those are going to be evening events. And we're going to have 2 morning coffees off campus. And those are going to be morning opportunities to really just network and socialize. The first speaker series kicks off on Tuesday, October the 6th. We're calling it a Falcon Forum. The invitation is going to go out tomorrow. You may have seen the Facebook invitation. I'm going to draw your attention to 2 things here. Or maybe I'll pull it up when John is talking. Oh gosh, I think I can get on Facebook here actually. Nope. I can't. Okay, when you go to Facebook, there are 2 things that you really need to make sure that you guys have. One is that you like the official Palmer Trinity School fan page. And 2 is that you search for the Palmer PTS Alumni Networking Group. So search for PTS Alumni Networking Group. It's a closed group because we really wanted to keep it open just to alumni and ask to join, and we'll look you up and join. But please spread the word about those 2 things too. So anyway, Tuesday, October 6th, our first speaker series features Patrick Roberts, our head of school. And he's going to be talking about leadership and education in the 21st century. He's a product of independent schools himself. He helped us write our strategic plan that you'll see in front of you. So he is going to be able to share a lot about his own experience about leadership and education. So come and network and bring your friends to come and network at that.
At Books and Books.
At Books and Books, thank you. Those are the 2 things I'm going to highlight right now. And then I'm going to turn it over to John. We will talk about what a class agent is asked to do.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, so I've already mentioned a little bit about the things that motivate me in trying to get the alumni board and the alumni community active and engaged. I think there's got to be that sort of next stage of life where the Palmer community helps everybody to make those connections, whether they're business connections or social connections or just reconnecting with the school itself. And that, I think, is really at the heart of the class agent's mission. You've got to be able to carry that message to your classmates in a way that has a little bit of enthusiasm behind it. And hopefully, Lauren's going to be able to make that kind of an easy job for you, but she can't do all of it. So there are 4 things that we're asking the class agents to do. The first and most important thing that the class agent has to do is to help maintain and update the contact information for everybody in the class. And that's not an easy thing, especially for the youngsters, because you guys are going to have people moving around all the time. It's easy for us old geezers because, you know, pretty soon the trees get pretty big in our yards, and you know where to find it. But that's an important job, and a lot of that is made easier by some of the social media that's available to us. The important part to me, I think, is knowing who your conduit is, and Lauren really is the conduit for that. A lot of that can happen a little bit seamlessly on Facebook, to whatever extent you get people to join those networking groups. But to any extent that you have people that you need to fill in, what you got to do is send that information to Lauren, and she'll update that. So she's going to provide you, I think, with a list of who the people are in their class that you're supposed to track down. You'll see the blanks, where we need to get some information filled in, and you'll see also where we've tried to reach people and we've gotten bounce backs and what have you. That's not a very difficult job, because if you don't know where they are immediately, somebody's going to know. As far as getting people to join the group on Facebook, Lauren, I'm able to add people. Is anybody able to add someone?
I don't know. I think so. I've added people.
Okay, so we've got to make sure.
To the networking. Yeah. Okay. You can invite it.
So I think that's another way to do it, is to just invite people and then encourage them to invite other members of the alumni community. Some of those things you have to be an administrator, I'm not really sure, but I think on that one, anybody who's in the group can invite someone else in the group.
What do you have now?
So that's that. Given the stage that we're at, I think that's probably our #1 job, is to find folks. The next thing is, I consider to be kind of an easy, fun thing, and sometimes I ambush people and have a good time. Scott Russell, who's still a friend of mine, had his 20th anniversary, and I didn't even ask him. I just put his 20th anniversary in the class notes. But that's a fun thing to do, and it's a nice way to get people engaged. To be perfectly honest, when I get the magazine, I don't read a whole lot of the article content. I skip right to the back and look at class notes, and I've got a lot of other people do too. So helping to facilitate that sort of connectivity, I think, is very important. That's really something the class agent has to help us accomplish. And Lauren will probably be in touch with you and say, here's a couple of gaps that we'd like to get some information, so that you've got some of these years covered on the class notes.
Okay, everybody pay attention to John for a minute. Don't look at your words.
Encouraging alumni to attend is really just catching that enthusiasm that I was trying to talk about before. If you didn't have the chance to make it to the all alumni reunion a few months ago, I was pretty impressed. There were, I would guesstimate, hundreds of people that were there. And it was really nice. There were a handful of people who just kind of showed up and didn't really know anybody. If number one, you take it on yourself to kind of spread that enthusiasm, that's kind of huge. And skipping ahead a little bit to that last part, which is the annual fun stuff, you've got to dispel a couple of the things that make people concerned about getting involved. My experience has been the first thing people are worried about is I'm going to set foot on campus and someone's going to put their hand out and I'm going to have to come up with 20 reasons why I don't have to make a donation. And it really has not been like that in my experience, and I think you got to put some of those fears to rest. I'm so glad to have Juan come in, even as we've been moving along, because he's got the right idea that if people just feel that connection, it's just naturally going to happen. So nobody's going to be hitting them up, although realistically there's going to be some conversations that come up as some of these plans start to come along in the near future. There's another aspect there, two really other aspects that I think are important, is you're kind of spreading that enthusiasm, making people feel comfortable that they're not going to get hit up for money, There's an aspect of Palmer's history, which is the kind of lost generation of pirates. We sort of felt like we were cut off and disowned. And there's a lot of that out there. And I think it's important to get the message across to that sort of generation that this still is Palmer. And I was one of them. And I can promise you that you can make that representation to your classmates, and they'll find out that it's true. Another aspect is the religious aspect. There are a lot of members of other faiths, either Jews, even some Catholics. I'm Catholic. I didn't know quite what to think when a friend of mine said to come back to Palmer and he was going to be Episcopalian. What are those people like? And it's really not a religious environment. I tell people that it is really much more of a spiritual environment, and they need to let that go. And I can't tell you how many times that's been reaffirmed as people have come back here to see that there's just nobody thumping Bibles and there's nobody trying to sprinkle holy water on your head. It's a spiritual light type of atmosphere, but in a very positive way. So those are messages that I think you can probably carry without perhaps some of my flair for expository language. But I really want that enthusiasm to come through the class agents. Your class reunions, unfortunately, that is one of those things that we need somebody to spearhead. It really isn't that hard to do. I was fortunate to just do it with Beth Brockway Surati's help, and she does everything. So it's not fair for me to say how easy it is. But I know Lauren and the school will do a lot to help facilitate that. It's really, it's more fun and rewarding than anything else. And then the last thing is helping to support the annual fund. And that, I think, starts with a little bit of understanding that the tuition does not cover the entire operating cost of the school. So it's just a fact that there is some supplementation of the school's budget that is necessary in order to provide all the things that the students enjoy, and also some of the things that the alumni can enjoy. They're really minor contributions, although I'm sure Warren and Lauren hope for some ginormous contributions. But the most important thing, as I've come to understand this more, is participation. Because once you get those percentage levels of participation up, the $50 donations make a big deal of a difference because those participation levels have impacts on other types of fundraising that the school can do and just the general spirit of supporting the school. So hopefully that's not too short, not too long, but that's what I think is the real job of the class agents. Anybody have anything to add to it?
I just want to add one thing on the point that you mentioned as far as the religion. Being Jewish and knowing that it's merged with an Episcopal school, I stayed away. I decided to come back for one of the holiday parties, and I met Ms. Walker. But if not for her, I don't know that, how far I would have gone further than that. She alleviated any fears that I had, talked to me about, convocation that you have every morning, that no one is required to take religion classes, no one, as you said, is thumping Bibles at you, and she put me at ease, and I was just so grateful because I yearned for, not that I live it, but I really had a very, very positive experience at Palmer that I'm sure everyone else here did, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I don't know how much the religion is a factor anymore to those of us who graduated prior to the merger. I'd like to think that it has, dissipated over the course of more than 20 years. So, you make very good points, and I appreciate that. But this was coming from someone of the Jewish faith, seeing, that area as well.
I don't know, Juan, if you have any experience in this, but I think one of the things that John also hit on, which I find from conversations I've had with classmates that were Palmer students, is that there was something lost in the merger? And how do you, and if you don't know this, I'm wondering if there's anybody that could give us direction in this, because I felt the same way. I really felt like my school was Palmer. Again, as a parent now, I love the school, but I speak to a lot of people who don't have kids here, who don't know what Palmer Trinity is all about now, and they basically feel like it's not the school that they grew up in. How do we get them to realize that without being here? How do we talk about this merger and let them know that, you know, for financial stability and for the future of the school, it was a necessary thing, and that we still want to keep, and that's what I love about the fact that they do these 3 houses. If you have kids here, you know they break them up into 3 houses, a Trinity, a Palmer, and a Palmer Trinity house, and everybody fights for their own little house. I like that they still incorporate the old, you know, ideals of one school and of Trinity and bring it all together. How do we do that as alumni for our own independent schools, for those of us that were not Palmer Trinity students?
Well, that's a great point, and unfortunately there'll be some that will never, you know,
right.
never change.
Right.
But, you know, if they just know that we are doing everything on our side to make them feel wanted, to let them know that, yes, there were different schools at one point, but it's Palmer Trinity now. And, you know, and maybe,
Yeah,
Tom, I know you feel very strongly about this, so
I'll speak after you.
please chime in.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was on the board of trustees during the merger with Charles's father and Lily's father. They didn't know how to deal with me because I'm an Episcopalian and I was a Palmer alum, so I didn't know what the hell. I was literally the squirrel in the middle of the road. And, I was dear friends with people on both sides. Lily's father I've been close with forever. And you're right, there's a certain number of people that some people are dear friends of mine, people you know, that either because of religious issues or just issues, my school's gone, is what they say. And they don't understand that I feel that the administration here has bent over backwards to try and make the alumni from both former schools feel at home. And you know, whenever you ask me about my school's Palmer Trinity, it's not Palmer Trinity, it's Palmer Trinity. It's a lifestyle, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's some things that happened back then that, you know, if we had a couple hours and we got some out for more beer, but you know, I could tell you stories of things that happened and things that disappeared that were histories of both schools that there's a lot of sore feelings about. There was a lot of ugliness on the board level, especially. There were lawsuits back and forth. I mean, there was some hatred. And there's some people that were on the board then that I see occasionally here, and they won't even say hello to me. So, I mean, that's how deep-seated some of the, I won't call it hatred, but just uneasiness. I mean, and then there's other people like, whenever Lily's dad shows up, I can give you a big hug and drink a beer together and, you know, joke about old things. But yeah, there's some really, really hard feelings by some people. And again, some of them were some people, dear friends of mine who I went to school with here, who I still see, but you know, this conversation of the school never comes up. So then I give examples of colleagues and business people that I know, especially when the school first started out, people that were in my business, and especially people of the Jewish faith who, you know, came to me because they knew I was on the board here and said, you know, what do you think? I told them the experience of how it's like John so accurately described how it's not beating over the head with the Bible. And those people all have wonderful experiences here. So yeah, there's a certain people, because of what their feelings are, you're never going to change. And there's some certain hatreds that happened back then that you're never going to change. And all the school can do is continue what it does. And that's put its foot forward and embracing people like Lauren does a wonderful job of it. Monica Sanchez did a wonderful job of it, of making us as alumni feel really comfortable coming back, regardless of the school you're with.
I feel like I'm like reset again, like I'm in school.
So I was
really young at the time, but my godfather is Michael Ferguson. If any of you are familiar.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I
So
love you.
my family personally went through it, and it was really hard on my family. And even as a high school student here, he wouldn't step foot on this campus with everything that frankly Palmer did to him.
Yeah.
And Lauren and I have talked about this on a more like, one-on-one basis, but I think doing things that are more personalized and targeted to maybe the classes of this date past, it's like an e-blast that you send to just those people, and it's quotes from you guys about how this place has changed, and it's growing for the better, and
Still the same.
and still the same, and it's growing and it's evolving, and it feels like home even when you come back, but it's targeted to those people, and it's you talking about how your daughter and I goes to school here and things like that, so that people feel like they're being talked to personally as opposed to just the masses, because you know that that's a big, potentially a big group of people that we're missing out on, who may have students, may have kids who they may decide to come here, So I think that there's things that, from like I'm in marketing, so like my head always goes there. From a marketing standpoint and communication standpoint, personalized tactics that we can take to reach out to certain groups of people, and that may be one of them if you guys feel like it's a really big group that we're not tapping into.
You could bolt it on to
Yeah.
a special event.
Something really simple, and I take it from my fraternity, which actually absorbed other fraternities during the Vietnam era. They say at the bottom of their letterhead, a brotherhood of, and it lists the 4 other fraternities that they took over. So I'm just thinking on something as simple as this, an email. Put a little Palmer pirate there. Put a Trinity insignia there. And on the emails, make them see that visual. It's not just Palmer, Trinity, Falcon.
Yeah,
Great idea.
that's a great idea.
And make it that yearbook or the other one. There's that big Palmer in the middle of the stairway in Schaefer Hall. There's a place for both to see where you're coming from to go towards your future, and I think that may go a long way. And someone, when I see that green and gold, I don't think of my daughter's Killian High School. I think of Palmer Pirates, and as much as I love this school, that's what gets to me. And I think that, Beth put it perfectly. The school has left me. This may be something, a simple, a little, that's to me the grab.
It's like we're still here.
Yes.
We're doing the
It's
right here
not-
in this
no,
room. It's putting it out.
It's
You have it in this room. It's how do you get it outside
Right,
of
it
this
is
one
the
room?
connection, and that's why I'm saying on here, or at the bottom, or on your emails, on your website, show that Palmer pirate. Like it's not lost, that it will always be there. It's an excellent idea. I don't know about the houses of Slytherin and whatever, which I guess were, but that's how I think of this.
Very briefly, the way that I try to encapsulate that when I've had those conversations with people is to say the fact of the matter is that the merger of the schools was necessary for the survival of Palmer School. It would not have continued to exist without that. And as a natural result of that, there was certainly a lot of working out of the merger of those 2 cultures. But I can assure you that has now gotten to the point where it seamlessly goes along and is wonderfully united and celebrates both traditions and has its own new tradition. But it's really the same place. And I can tell you, I've had one child go through the gamut from 6th grade to graduation. It's the same place.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a spirit here that I was at Trinity for 1 year, but I could have the same memories that Charles would have as a Palmer pirate. I mean, there's a spirit to each place that lives on today. It's not different. It's the same spirit. That's why all of us are back, because it got us, right? It's still here. I mean, I've been on this campus a bunch these last few years as I've gotten more involved, and it's still here. It hasn't changed. People have changed, but the spirit hasn't. That's what we have to.
If everybody, John, you make a good point. If anybody wants to ask you about if Palmer was going to survive, we had board meetings, and I'll never forget the accountant who was our accountant for the board came to us in like February and goes, "We're going to be out of money by the end of March. There were 206 students here, and Bixie Matheson was the chairman of the board, and then she said, we got to do something. And she said to all of us, we got to do something, we're not going to be here. And the thing worked out with Trinity because they didn't have enough land where they were, so it was kind of a good marriage at that time. But yeah, this school, we were gone. I mean, it was over.
Mr. Beverly tells stories about how they couldn't make payroll on Friday unless they admitted
my dad.
Thursday.
My dad. Talk to Beth Serrati. Her dad and my dad were on the board at the same time. My dad was the chairman of the board. They meet at people's houses. And at the end of the meeting, they get out their checkbook. And write big checks to cover the payroll. I mean, it was, that's why this place is still here, is people like that. And some people don't understand that. And that's why there's such a passion for this place by so many.
And then just to fast forward, that right now, what people don't know, unless you're trying to get your child in here now, is that we are the hardest school to get into now. We had over 500 applicants, and in the 6th grade we increased it, and now I think maybe we have 110 or 105. I mean, you can't get into Palmer Trinity now. That is how great of a reputation we are getting. So, as much as I'm saying I still miss my Palmer school, I can't tell you how much the academic curriculum what we're offering here is unbelievable, and we want to push it. I mean, we should be so proud of what we were and what we've become. It's crazy.
Keenan, as our most recent graduate, and really the one that brought the house system for the entire student body, would you share with the alumni what the house system is all about?
Right. So originally I had this idea of, personally, I saw that the school spirit was a little low. It could have been much better. And then I had this idea, like as you see in Harry Potter, you have these houses that compete against each other in certain events. But then there was this idea that, because at first coming to this meeting and hearing all these different stories, I didn't know the difference between Palmer and Trinity. I mean, all I heard was that they came together. I never knew the backstory. Now that I'm hearing it, I can see where you guys are coming from now. Alumni thinking that Palmer is Palmer and Trinity is two separate things. So when the house systems came around, we needed 3 mascots for our houses. We were going to divide the whole school into 3 houses, but I didn't know what the mascots would be. But then over time and thinking and talking to Lauren and everybody else, we came up with the 3 mascots of what we have: Palmer Pirates, the Trinity Titans, and then the Falcons, what we are now. So basically, on the first day, on my first year last year, of this house system, we had this idea of having everybody have this shirt. And there's a great photo of the gym filled with, on the left side is the Palmer Pirates with the yellow and green, and then on the right side is the white and purple, and in the middle is the blue, the Falcons, the blue and yellow that we are now. And I can see that unity was just within the school, but now that I'm hearing all these different stories, I can see how alumni can relate to that and see how all of them, even though they're 3 separate things and they're 3 separate identities that they are now, they all come together to be that one kind of spirit that you guys were mentioning before. And it's hopeful. I mean, I haven't been able to come back to Palmer until now. This is the first time since I've been back in graduation, I think it might be. But I hope that and now that I'm glad to hear that they continue to break up the students. But basically, there's a lot of different, I guess, and homecoming is the biggest time that all these houses come together. There's just different events that they compete against, and everybody's kind of showing their pride in the Palmer Pirates and the Trinity Titans, all that have their own different color and identity. And I think that what I was trying to do now, I'm glad to hear that it's a bigger impact from alumni. I only saw it as a student. I didn't see it from the outside coming in, how important it was. But basically, it was just this idea to raise school spirit and awareness and compete in pathways. And there's even an app that we've created. I worked with Mr. Tomek, who was in the middle school before. And there's an app that if you attend events, you gain points for your house. So you can gain points for the Pirates. And whoever has the most points at the end of the year gets a prize. And that friendly competition is what I tried to build, and I'm glad that it's still going on today. But basically, I guess that idea of unity as one was the main focus for the house.
That's awesome. Great idea.
Very powerful.
That's great that you reached back to the history to make that connection, and you didn't even know really what it was about. But that makes me
That's what
feel
makes both parts of it good.
It
He reached back and then that he didn't know.
The last
those are two like double bonds.
It's like new code. You just couldn't come up with the idea.
The last homecoming I went to last year was rescheduled for weather reasons, but the one before, in the past few years, I've driven my Mustang convertible across the field. It didn't spin donuts. But the last time, and I saw Monica there in an actual Palmer Pirate shirt. I was like, you know, again, it reached, it talked to me. Not the shirt, talked to me. It really made me feel good, and that's how I feel that maybe you can reach back to those Palmer people by incorporating certain things like that. You know, just simple. And you're right, there are some people who are it's just never going to happen. There are some of those antecedent fraternities from my fraternity. They were turned off, their fraternity left, which that truly was the case, but they never forgot their roots and their history. And if you want to maintain the connection, you got to throw it out there a little bit, and that's an excellent start. That insignia is there. I think in your book you'll see the pirate. You know, not overwhelming, but something to show.
Sure.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm going to
Brett.
direct this at you guys. You guys been looking at us. I want to look at you guys. So we have kind of our outline of things that we need to be productive. How would you grade us on how we can be successful? What are your goals out of having us here?
Awesome.
Like quantitative, not kind of ethereal stuff.
Well, for one thing, every alumni or alumnus that we find, that's like definitely a check. Because we can't reach people if we can't find them.
I mean, emails to me is the most important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and then your closest friends is bringing them to events, and getting them. It's kind of like that. Whatever that commercial was. One person brings, and then they bring two, and they bring four, and kind of get the ball rolling that way. So I would say those two things, and then yourself being an active alumnus would be the three things I would grade you on. Good. At the end of the day.
I will share that one of our goals as an alumni board is to have a presence at the school and get involved at the school. I mean, we are just naturally by being board members, but that doesn't mean we're all coming to the events and, being a part. So that's one of our goals this year. And I think it would be incredible if it was one of this group's goals too, because it all comes flooding back when you step foot on this campus. It all comes flooding back when you see a friend that you haven't seen for 20 years. Just attending is awesome.
Are there any classes or class agents that are like the gold star? Like, has there been any class like, hey, you get...
You guys!
No, but I mean like one class...
That's what we can measure to and say we want to be like
you've got participation, a certain level of participation, or you get, funding from us every year.
Charles, it's really honestly hard to say because it does ebb and flow. Right, reunion years, you get a big flow.
Splash,
yeah. And then it falls off for a couple of years, to be honest. And then the other reunion comes up. So it does ebb and flow, and it really is. You guys in the room here, we have a lot of class agents. We have about 31 class agents signed up now. About 25 of them live in town. So you all here, this is awesome. Thank you for showing up. We are going to ask you to look at these class lists and think about a co-agent. If you don't already have a co-agent, we would like to share the love a little bit and make sure that we have some co-agents, particularly for the classes of 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. We want to make sure that we have both a Palmer representative and a Trinity representative, and perhaps for 92, maybe even 93, two Palmer Trinity people. So
can I fire my
Slender's brother.
But the other thing to note is you don't have to be a class agent in town. What I do think that we're trying to do is have at least one class agent in town and maybe your co-agent out of town, and that works out great. Maybe that doesn't work for all the 70s or even the 80s when the class sizes are so small, so we can kind of talk about that. And we're also talking about more cluster reunions type of thing for the 70s and 80s, where you get a couple of classes together to reunion together. So co-agents are really important. And then out of town. So, big news. Elena de Villiers is now officially an alumni ambassador on behalf of the school. And so I think you probably are all friends with her on Facebook. If you're not, please follow her. And pay attention to her posts, because she's going to be reaching out. She's already traveling to see alumni across the country. She'll be in Jacksonville in 2 weeks. Juan Gomez and our new associate head for real estate, associate head of school for real estate, Paul Zamek. Juan and Paul are going to Atlanta in October, so think about your Atlanta connections. Danny Reynolds and another associate head of school for academics, her name is Dr. Manjula Solomon. So Danny and Manjula are going to San Francisco in November, so think about the people you know in San Francisco. And then we will be going to New York City at the end of January. So that'll be a big one. We have a really big contingent in New York. So we're not only staying in town, we really are taking the opportunity to have representatives from the school meet alumni all over the place. Danny went to London last year and saw some alumni in London, which was really cool. So we're even going global. And the potential for that is just unbelievable, because we have alumni all over the world. So it's really starting to spread. But Brett, help us spread the word. Bring a friend.
Hey, did all the
bring a not friend,
Hey, everything you asked for is very free and
awesome.
Manageable.
Awesome.
So it's just a little relationship equity.
Yeah.
So,
John will probably say that I send too many emails. I'm trying not to send too many emails, but I'll try to send an official class agent email at least once a month. And the other thing you look out for is the alumni e-news, which goes out once a month. And there you'll find a variety of these opportunities to get involved that we're talking about. So hopefully that makes sense.
And I assume if we're going to do our job and reach out to everyone on our list, it's okay to obviously include your contact at the end.
Absolutely.
We don't need to, do you or somebody need to approve emails that we send out, or can we just go ahead and...
No, you can send them out.
Okay.
If you want to, you can CC me.
Okay.
Or even forward me the email
Right.
afterwards, which is totally fine.
Right.
Or not, sometimes you just want to have some little one-on-one time with your classmates. That's up to you.
Do you want to send us electronic copies of these?
I would be happy to. I would be happy to send you electronic copies. I wanted you to see the hard ones for tonight, but I will email them all to you tomorrow.
You don't want electronic copy.
What is that?
That's dangerous.
Oh, yeah, people would.
We will also, Lindley brought up a good point, tomorrow probably, we'll be sending you out the invitation for the Falcon Forum on October the 6th. So you can go ahead and forward that, it'll be a pretty picture, and you can just forward that to the people that you know.
What is the local collegiate night?
Great question. So we have a bunch of alumni that are in college locally. So these are...
I can't recruit? I thought it was a program.
Everybody, the last 4 years of graduation from Palmer Trinity, we call kind of in our language collegiate alumni. And so we have a lot of them locally, like I said. So we'll be having dinner for them, for you guys. We'll be talking and getting our people together.
It's a cheaper liquor tab, that's what she's saying.
Yes.
One thing we've discussed in the Alumni Association meeting is reaching out to the soon-to-be alums and making it abundantly clear, and it's also from a staff level, but it's also our responsibility, that they're part of our club. And they're going to be one of us really soon. And so to start the ball rolling as far as getting them involved in alumni activity, and start right as soon as they graduate, even before. You're one of us now, and we're here for you, and you're here for us. It goes to everything with the networking we're talking about, and all the different programs we're talking about. Is let's reach out to them. There's some events, and I talked to Lindley and Lauren that maybe we can get involved from the alumni board at some of the school events where we're here doing things, so we're identifiable to the students. And I'd be glad to help somebody. Any of us would. If somebody maybe wants to go to the college you went to or whatever. I'd love to talk to somebody about that, or anything I can do for them. So we just need to make that clear and probably do a better job than we have in the past, both on the staff level and from our level, to get make the soon-to-be alums feel part of it.
That's a great point. One of the best visible ways to do that is to come to homecoming if you can. Homecoming's on a Friday afternoon this year to accommodate our current students so that they can stay after school. But so if you can take early off on Friday afternoon, that'd be great. Perfect. We have one of our convertible drivers for homecoming board right here.
I will let you know that I had 3 years running. I wound up carting the homecoming queen.
Just throw that out there.
It was ironic. Last year, as I said, weather rescheduled, I couldn't do it, so there was no homecoming queen. I'm kidding.
All right.
All right.